Welcome to this healing series on becoming the healer. I I have this quiz for my book. This is behind me, The Seven Energies of the Soul, and after thousands of people took the quiz, I get to see the analytics on the back end, and the number one result was, guess it, healer. By far, actually. I'll have to look again, but I think the lover was second, and then maybe the creator was third. If you haven't taken the quiz, just go to meditation school website.us, and it's there. It's free. It takes like a couple minutes. See which energies are dominant for you. And I also did a survey of meditation school members, and I asked you all what you wanted more of. And you know what the number one answer was? You guessed it, healing. I was like, oh crap. All right, this is good. This is good. I'm surrounded by a bunch of healers. And so that's where the series was born from, was from a lot of you saying, I want to do more healing work. I want to learn about healing. I want to heal myself. I want to learn how to work with and heal others in a safe, grounded way. And so that's what this series is. So you got your wish, whoever answered in those ways. And I always try to create my classes, well, one, based on what I feel is appropriate to teach, but also based on the feedback that I get and what you all ask for. So if there's if there's ever something burning in your heart that you want to work on, don't hesitate to reach out to me and let me know. That's part of being in a group like this, and we can work it together. And this Sunday, is it this Sunday? I believe it is. We're going to have group coaching. We're going to go even deeper into this topic for that, if you're a part of that. Okay, so let's jump right in. So the first class is called the 4 pillars, and I'm going to go over those in a moment. And I'll just, I'm happy to go over what each of the classes titles are. Just pull them up here and read them to you. So tonight, and by the way, I'm going to do one class a month on this topic for 4 months. We're going to do one class a month. So you're going to have plenty of time to do your homework on this and deepen into your own inner healer. And so this one is the 4 pillars of being a healer. And then the next one is seeing, accepting, and understanding. The third class is healing techniques and modalities. So we'll get into some of those. And then the fourth is called becoming a healing presence, or becoming a healing presence for others. So I'm going to kind of move us, I would say, on a path of first really understanding what it means to heal, what it means to be a healer, how to heal, and then how to be not just a healer as in like I'm going to put my hands on you and fix you, but how to be a healing presence and guide. Whether you know you are or not, if you're interested in the topic of healing, then you are on some level. You might just not own it fully for yourself yet. It doesn't matter if you don't do that as a job. You still very well may be a healing presence for others. Or maybe people get around you and then they're like, oh, I need a healing. And if that's the case, sometimes we're all a little toxic. If that's the case, then as you heal yourself, that'll flip. And eventually you can also become a healing presence instead of a repelling presence. So the 4 pillars of healing, the first one is compassion and empathy. I'll name them and then we'll go over them. The second is energy awareness. The third is mastering a technique, or we can call it a modality. And then the fourth is inner and outer healing. So starting with compassion and empathy, these are 2 different things. Empathy, the way I see it, is much more of just a feeling. I can feel how you feel. I empathize with you. I understand how you feel. So if you're in a lot of pain, maybe empathically, I feel that pain as well. And so by feeling what you feel, I understand how you feel, right? Anyone in here extremely empathic, almost too much? Just absorb the pain of the world. So I hide. And then compassion the way I see compassion is more of, let's say, a deep understanding and awareness. So not only can I feel how you feel, maybe I understand where you're coming from. I understand where that wound has come from and why it's affecting you the way it is. So instead of judging you, I have compassion. So compassion could be the opposite of judgment, right? Instead of saying, oh, you're in so much pain, you're so dumb, you're bad, you're evil, I have a deep understanding in my heart why you're in that pain, or that at least that you're in pain, and that I don't need to punish you or judge you for being in that pain. And also, I can turn that compassion on myself. I don't need to punish or judge myself for being in pain or for being stuck. I can have understanding. It's almost like a emotional and spiritual balm that we could put on a wound and allow it to heal. If we have some kind of emotional wound and we look at it and we criticize it, it'll never close and heal. In fact, we'll infect it with that judgment and it'll just get worse. Maybe it'll go into hiding. And we have physical wounds and we have emotional wounds, and the physical ones are easy to see. They leave physical scars. I have one. TMI. I have a TMI warning. I have a physical scar right here from a massive car accident I was in when I was 6, where I almost died. I'll have that scar for the rest of my life. It healed. I'm here. I'm very lucky. I won't go into that. I can breathe. Sorry, I can breathe. I had collapsed lungs, and there's a scar. And then we have emotional scars from our wounds, right? If they heal, some of them don't always heal. They maybe just go dormant for a while, and then someone triggers us and we snap, or we get self-conscious, or we get really upset, or we spin out. And it's just like a physical wound can get infected, an emotional wound can get infected too. And if an emotional wound gets infected, then maybe we start being kind of more negative in the world, angry, pessimistic, you know, we never trust anyone. We're always annoyed with people. Just everything triggers us or puts us off. Maybe there's only 1 or 2 people whose energy we like and everyone else is an idiot. Everyone's an idiot, but me and those 2, because they don't hurt me. They don't trigger my wounds. And then we put the power of how we feel into someone else's hands, right? If you say something I don't like and you offend me, it's your fault. It's not the wound in me, it's your fault, right? So when we heal, the world no longer has power over us in the way that it did. And I love the way Eckhart Tolle puts it. He calls our wounds our pain body, and that pain body, or a field of negative energy, can be dormant, so it could kind of be quiet, or it could be awakened or active. Some people, it's dormant most of the time, and then once in a while it flares up, a pain body, a wound. And for others, it's like all the time. It's like almost constant. Some people are amazing at hiding it, and others, they wear it on their sleeve. And if we don't heal it, if we try to put it down into our unconscious, it's like squeezing a toothpaste bottle. It'll go somewhere else, and it'll come out. And the longer time passes and we don't heal it, the harder it becomes to find it and understand it, because it weaves itself into all these areas of our lives. And I'm sure you know people that's happened to. I'm sure that you've experienced it yourself. And it could be very tricky healing a wound that is physically invisible, right? But is it totally physically invisible? Maybe it comes out in your posture. Maybe it comes out in the way you squeeze your face, in the intonations in your voice, in your hand gestures, and it might come out in some physical ways. Maybe you have physical pain that is manifested into neck pain, stomach pain, head pain, foot pain, back pain, butt pain. That person's been a pain in my ass for 20 years. This sciatica just started flaring up. They're totally separate. Oh, wait, maybe they're not. So physical pain might be the last manifestation of emotional pain, mental pain, spiritual pain that finally reaches the body if we don't work on it and heal it, and then expresses itself. I remember working with a, a student once who we were working on his something around his relationship with his grandfather, and I could sense that the pain was so strong in his grandfather. I said, you know, this is my intuitive thing that I'm saying, that like the pain in your grandfather is so intense, I could easily see it forming into a cancer and and killing him. And uh, he said to me, that is exactly what happened. He said, my grandfather passed away of cancer. He was in so much pain, emotional, mental pain, and then cancer manifested. And that's how he died. And I was like, whoa, almost had to apologize for saying it, but it was so clear, you know? So that was like the atomic bomb of emotional pain for him. It turned into a cancer. And then we have actual atomic bombs, right? And people who are in a lot of pain are the ones that usually have the button. And it's funny that the button's red, right? Energetically, I think of our, you know, our pain bodies have like little red buttons, and then someone presses one and we explode. Anyone want me to do that to you in front of the rest of the group right now? Should we do a demo? Maria, you'd be so good. You'd be a good one. I just just press your button. No, that would be super mean. I would never do that. But my teachers would push my buttons in a gentle, effective way. To the, you know, all growth is at the edge, just at the right edge where we're uncomfortable, but not so uncomfortable where we can't handle it. So there is you do want me to push your buttons to some extent, as long as it's in a safe way. Melanie said she can cry in command, so she could also be a demo. Thank you, Melanie. I appreciate that. So the 4 pillars of becoming a healer. And I want to invite all of you to recognize that you are healers, whether you're becoming one or you already are one professionally, or you might just have the very first inklings of, ooh, maybe it's starting, maybe there is something here. If you're in a lot of pain, you have a destiny to become a healer if you choose to accept it. Like Mission Impossible. This tape will explode in 5 seconds. If you have a lot of compassion and empathy for other human beings, you're destined to be a healer. If you care about the world being a peaceful, loving place where people are safe, then you have a healer in you. So, and I think that we all do to a certain extent. And so I want to honor that in each of you in the very authentic and unique ways that it might come out. I have no idea what the healer in you might look like. It might look really different to what the healer in me looks like. So we all have it in unique ways. One of the ways I like to express it is I love working with kids and animals. Those are 2 ways that my healer likes to come out. Obviously, I've done a lot of like professional healing work with people over the years, one-on-one. Teaching healing is part of me being a healer as well. And then sometimes just maybe being a presence for somebody who's in pain, maybe being a healer, just sitting and listening to them express their pain might be you being a healer. I've had that experience, and I've had people do it for me. And if there's one thing that we all have in common as humans on this earth, is we've all experienced what seems like way too much pain. I've never had a human who's at least like 25 years old say to me, no pain, nothing, never experienced any pain. And if they happen, I just say, wait till you're 35. So it's very interesting that we all come on this earth and that we all experience a good amount of pain. Probably what we think is too much. Like, holy shit, this isn't fair. Why so much pain? Why does everyone pass away? Why do people get sick? And that's where the 4 Noble Truths came from. That's where the Buddha's awakening came from. That's where all of meditation was born from, was from somebody's realization that there's all of this pain and suffering in life, and there must be a way to handle it better and deal with it. And that's where meditation came from. That's not to say meditation is all about pain, but if from all the work I've done as a teacher over the years, I would say at least 80% of my students come to meditation through pain, stress, anxiety, fear, feeling stuck, depressed, can't find their answers, frustration, heartbreak, some form of like, I can't relax. There's too much noise. How many of you, I want to see your faces. How many of you just by raising your hand came to meditation through some kind of pain? Everyone but one whose video is on. Okay. Yeah. And if your video's off, some people give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Thumbs up for pain. Thanks, Laura. Thanks, Asha. Woo! And so we definitely need a little bit of amusement to handle all of this pain. It's okay to sometimes, in a healthy way, laugh at our pain. That's where comedy was literally born out of pain. I was at an Easter gathering last night with almost all Jews. Let's call it Easter Passover combo. And we were all laughing how Jews have gone through so much pain over thousands of years. That's probably why so many of us are comedians, and to deal with all the excessive pain we've experienced. We had to walk through the desert and this and then that. That's my Jewish grandpa voice. Yeah, so much. You think your people have pain, you should see what my people went through. And then everyone starts, let's comparing pain. You've got shingles. Hey, look at this rash on my arm. You have heartbreak. You should see the heartbreak I went through. So first pillar, compassion and empathy. And with all healing, we have to start with ourselves. We all have to start by healing ourselves, and then we can become healthy healers for the rest of the world. So if you don't have any empathy or compassion, well, one, maybe you're some kind of sociopath, very rare, unlikely you're in my class. So for the rest of us, we have varying degrees of compassion and empathy. And most of us have an easier time being compassionate and empathetic towards others, less so for ourselves. And so when we meditate, we turn that awareness, that light towards ourselves, so we have some insight. And with that insight, we have compassion. That's how we heal. And then we can help others. So that's always incredibly important. And we all know that intellectually. I know every person in this class knows that. I don't have to tell you. But really feeling it and experiencing it and noticing the gap where you don't have compassion for yourself, when you kind of look into your body and look into your emotional body, where you really don't have enough compassion. Anyone here not have enough compassion? Raise of hands for themselves on occasion. Nobody wants to admit it. Most of us as meditators, when we close our eyes and go in, one of the first things that arises is some form of inner criticism. Have you experienced that? My head's noisy. I'm a crappy meditator. I'm angry at someone. I'm not a man or woman or person of inner peace. I'm frustrated. I can't find my answers. I've been meditating for 10 years. Immediately we turn on ourselves and we start attacking ourselves. It's very, very common in meditation. What's important to notice when you do that, and that's where I want to start in our first meditation for this series, it's important to notice that when you do that, is to let go of the judgment, allow it to be there, don't try to move it away, and recognize that the judgment itself is a form of pain. It's just talking. Just like, have you ever gone to coffee with someone and you're talking and they're just complaining about somebody, just rah, 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 criticizing them, and you could feel that they're in pain about that person, and that's why they're criticizing them, because they've been hurt. And so there's this pain in them. And even if they're saying everything that they're saying may be true, that other person might be the worst human ever, but still, it's their pain inside of them that they're not focusing on. They're looking at somebody else. When we turn that on ourselves, when we go to meditate, we often turn it on ourselves. What I'd like you to practice, and we'll do this in meditation, is stepping back and recognizing that inner critic, that that inner judge, whatever it is, isn't your voice. It's just a voice. It's just words and thoughts expressing themselves from an energy. So the words don't matter. The energy underneath them matters. So what is the criticism and the lack of empathy and compassion made of? What's the actual energy underneath it that's causing it? If we get really honest and we let go of whatever story we've been weaving, we always hit some deep level of pain, and then the tears come, and then we process it. It moves out, and then it no longer has this like hypnotic gravitational pull on us. Anyone ever get hypnotized? Get hypnotized by the pain? You're just meditating 40 minutes in. You just like you just angry, arguing, mad, frustrated. So we want to see those energies, step back from them, have compassion for them, and then they'll start to shift. That's how we become awesome healers. Because then when we could do that for ourselves, we'll be able to do it for anybody. Because when we heal our triggers, nobody can trigger us. We can't have, it's hard to have compassion for someone who triggers us, because they trigger us and we're mad, we're frustrated, right? We're annoyed. And then it's hard to have compassion. But if they can't trigger us because we've healed ourselves, then no matter what they do, no matter how horrible it is, yes, we could do physically what's necessary to back them away and have boundaries, but we could still have compassion. I mean, if you had to put someone to death and execute them or put them in prison for the rest of their lives, you can do that knowing it's the right thing to do and still have compassion for them, knowing that there's some deep pain inside of them. And yet some people are too dangerous to be out in the world or near other humans. It's just a fact. They're just too dangerous. And yet you can have compassion for them. So compassion doesn't mean we don't do anything. It means we have understanding, and we understand somebody else's pain. So a lot of talk about pain.